Hello everybody, I'm Christoph. I'm currently doing the YPO program in India, and I'm going to talk about my experience here. So first I'm going to talk about India in general, and my favorite thing is definitely my favorite thing. Food is important to me, and I love Indian food. It's great. I mean, if you like mostly vegetarian and spicy food, then you're at the right place. I mean, it's just great, really, with all these spices and then these different Indian kitchens from different Indian states. It's just plain awesome. And if you are a meat friend, and eat some meat sometimes, and if you do the program here like I do in Bangalore, you will always find restaurants and places you can also eat meat. It's mostly chicken or lamb, no beef because cows are holy, so it's hard to find beef. But chicken and chicken and lamb should do the trick if you feel like having meat. Or there is even now in Bangalore, I don't know how it is in other big cities, but in the main road, as in one of the biggest roads, there is even now Western restaurants and shops. So if you're missing Western food, you can always also get pizzas and pasta and all these kinds of Western food, even if they're not as good as we do them at home. But at least you get a little bit of home in the food. Um, and I also really like the Indian society, the Indian people, not really the society, but the people, how they are. I mean, I like how spontaneous, creative, and warm they are, and generous. So if you're on the streets and you're looking for something like a place, an office, whatever you're looking for, or anything, you can always help anybody. And even if they're not able to speak English or any language, you understand each other. They will always try to help you with sign language. And they never turn you down. I mean, they even if they can't help you, they just help you find somebody else which can help you. So they never just leave you there and say like, yeah, no, we're not going to help you. Do it yourself. But it's really nice. And what I find also quite interesting is that they improvise a lot. That everything is improvised. There is we are used to everything is planned out, and the government does this, and the streets is that. Everything is planned and works pretty well most of the times. But here in India, because the country is so vast and there is so many people, yeah, because not everything can be taken care of, so the people improvise. That's a really interesting experience if you see that the first time, how that turns out and looks. It's a bit chaotic, but I think it's organized chaos or something like that. And India, as most people know or heard of, is it's full of wonders. I mean, you can travel, or even if you stay at one place, you can always find like something which you baffles you, something which impresses you. There is every day like another miracle to find in India. So that's how I experienced it, at least. Um, yeah, that was the good things about my experience, and they also have some things that shocked me in the beginning. So I'm also going to talk about that because it's also part of my experience. Um, yeah, what bothered me at the beginning still does, but not as much anymore because you get used to it, is the open waste disposals. And it doesn't matter if that's in the middle, like on the side of a street in the middle of a city, or if in rural areas it's just a big pile of waste somewhere. And sometimes instead of getting rid of it, carrying it away, they just burn it openly. And it stinks, it burns, and it's not really environmentally friendly. And another thing which you need to be aware of is like that open urination and defecation is still practiced. And so that's quite shocking when you see that the first time. But it happens. And you have to get used to it. And then I want to talk about the professional experiences I made with my internship. So what I realized, the first thing was that the hierarchy system, the bosses and your superiors, and using the proper communication channel through these superiors is more important than it is in Europe. So you have to be aware of that. And the thing is also, if you're good at things and if you're useful as an intern and happy to help, then there will a lot of people asking you for help and doing their work. So you have to kind of to learn to say no, because if you don't learn to say no, you will drown in work. Yeah, so you need to know that. And what I also realize is what it's different, a little bit different than an internship in Europe is you need, we are used that an internship is in a quite planned framework, and you just work in that framework and work out your study or whatever you work on. And here you need a little bit more, you can be more creative and self-initiative. You have like a much broader framework, and you have to talk about much broader framework and also a more vague framework. So you have to be more creative and more disciplined to work and figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it. But you can learn a lot in that way because we're not used to that kind of work. So there's a lot of opportunity to learn how to manage this. And as a conclusion of my, because now at the very end of my, it's only a bit more than a week left, so as a conclusion of my whole stay here, I would say, I mean, I learned so much on a social level, like interact with people from a different culture and different views, and with a totally different view to the world, and also a more chaotic and very different way to work, also approach to work. And so I learned here to improvise a lot more. I mean, I also liked to improvise before, but now I learned to not, when there's something chaotic happening, you don't freak out, you just stay calm and improvise and do what you can do. And then and what I also learned is that I appreciate the luxury, the privilege we grew up on in Europe a lot more, because when you see a developing country, you just appreciate it a lot more, because you see it's not just standard everywhere. So when you stay here and live, you can see the difference quite heavily. That influenced me, but it's not also this way around, it's also the other way around. You can also see through the warmth and the helpfulness and the generosity of the Indian people, even if they have not much to spare. It shows also the pitfalls of Western society, and so I learned a lot here in that respect. So all concluded, this program was an invaluable experience, and I would do it always again. Every time when I could face it again, if somebody asked me if I would do it again, I definitely would. And I would also recommend it to anybody who has an open mind, who would like to have a bit of a different experience. So, see you guys.